I'm James Geary, agronomist for Local Land Services North Coast, and today I'm going to talk to you about annual ryegrass establishment. During the autumn and winter months, perennial pasture growth is normally slowed due to the colder conditions and shorter daylight hours. This means that there is a feed gap, and this is usually filled with hay or silage, but growing annual ryegrass is always going to be the cheaper option. Annual ryegrass on the North Coast is normally planted in the third week of March through until late April. If conditions are not suitable, ryegrass can be planted in May, but yield and establishment will be negatively affected. The optimum temperature for establishing annual ryegrass is when the air temperature is between 19 and 24 degrees Celsius. However, in practice, the ideal temperature for establishing ryegrass into perennial summer pastures is when the minimum temperature is below 15 degrees Celsius. Planting may be later in areas closer to the coast where frost-free conditions are present and where perennial pastures continue to grow further into winter. Optimal sowing rates for annual ryegrass on the North Coast are up around 60 kilos to the hectare, and adding a legume component such as red or white clover is also beneficial, as it will fix nitrogen in your soil. Most ryegrass is sown via broadcasting seed over an existing perennial pasture, and this can provide good results providing seed-soil contact is maximised and existing growth of perennial species is kept to a minimum. Maximised. This can be done by grazing paddocks hard to 4 to 5 centimetres length, broadcasting seed, then allowing cattle in for 4 to 6 hours to trample in seed, or follow broadcasting of seed by mulching to maximise seed-soil contact. Higher success rates can be achieved by mulching paddocks 5 to 6 weeks before sowing ryegrass, as this gives a chance for mulch material to break down. Seed can also be drilled into existing pasture using a seed drill, and this will always provide the best results over other methods provided, as seed-soil contact is maximised, although care must be taken not to sow the seed too deep, more than 1 centimetre, as the seedlings will struggle to emerge, and this may lead to uneven emergence and delays in production. For optimum production, ryegrass needs to be managed well after germination, by allowing cattle in 2 weeks after germination to lightly nip off any perennial pastures, as this prevents shading of seedlings. This period must be no more than 4 hours. Full grazing may be achieved 6 weeks after planting or when the plants reach the 3-leaf stage. Subsequent grazings by May should be no longer than 30-day intervals, provided rainfall and nutrition are not limiting factors. Knowing the nutrition of your soil is important, so soil testing is really important so you can fertilise according to your soil test. This will ensure that nutrients such as phosphorus, potassium and sulphur are not limiting. pH and aluminium can also be a problem on many North Coast soils, and this can negatively impact the growth of grasses. This can be fixed by applying lime, which is a relatively cheap soil amendment. Before a rainfall event and after first grazing, it is advisable to fertilise with a nitrogen-based fertiliser such as urea at 50 kilos to the hectare. The first full grazing after this should be around the 6-week mark and should be followed up by an application of urea at 100 kilos a hectare, with fertiliser being applied every second grazing for optimal results always before rainfall. Pastures that have had urea applied to them should not be grazed for a minimum of 2 weeks afterwards, as this can lead to nitrate poisoning of stock. Most annual ryegrasses will continue production well into spring. From therein, perennial pasture will continue to grow. For more information, contact Local Land Services.